So we're back again for Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Iron Archipelago episode 10. Who knows what could happen this episode? Not me. Today's episode will be entirely player goal driven. I have nothing prepped. I'm going to be shooting from the hip all day long. I don't have anything to announce. Omar, thanks for that Twitch sub. You guys tell me what your plans are this episode. You got any goal updates?
Hoping to get the hiccups this time.
Oh God, please! It hurts. That was rough. Okay, that was like 20 solid minutes of hiccups.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday. I called King Arthur Pendragon early. Wow. You laugh at my hiccups and you suffer for it, Omar. Suck it.
It was also
Karma usually doesn't act that fast. I wouldn't want to step on my compatriots' toes here, but I think one thing that Velamris would be liking to, well, there's two things I had for what I would like to do this episode, which was see what we can find out about the local Adeptus Mechanicus. Well, they're quasi-local because they're not allowed on the station, but particularly looking to see, are they truly Dark Mechanicum, or are they just, whatever their case is, possibly even learning why they were, like the real reasoning behind why they were exiled. The other thing he wants to do is at some point check in with Liturgical and see how he's doing and bring him some of his favorite oranges and maybe some recaf or something.
Okay.
I mean, it might be worthwhile finding out why the mechanics were banned in the first place.
Yeah. And I do have the Adeptus Mechanicum thing as my short term. Like that was one of the things I changed from last week.
My next individual goal is to try and seek an audience with Evandriel.
Was that one of the?
Yeah, that
wasn't it?
That's right. She was the pro administration one.
Oh. Do you want Velamris to go to help translate paperwork into common speak?
I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to sort of. It's not about solving the problem. It's about creating new problems. So whenever you got a problem, just set fire to it. Boom, new problem.
That's definitely a way. What is our new Imperial Governor wanting to get after today? I wonder.
He wants to issue some orders.
Uh-oh. Summary execution orders?
Well, his first order, which he's going to be sending to, I wrote the commissar's names down.
Commissar Chase Drivitz and Yartare.
Yes. For the summary execution of the traitors, Lord Colonel Renard and Lieutenant Rafal. I'm going to promote the Cadian, Octa Rain, to take control. And I'm going to restore the status of the 143rd so they're no longer listed as traitors.
I think that might be the scene that we see at the beginning then, is a black screen, a line of a drum roll, the sound of pipes, and then we suddenly see thousands of Imperial Guardsmen lined up next to a whipping post and a smaller, like, how do I describe this? What's the thing called where you put oil into? Is it called an oil pit? A pan? It has a very specific name, right? Everyone's looking at me like a crazy person.
Well, it depends on what, like, oil pan in the car. Yeah, context.
I want you to imagine a sump. Yeah, I want you to imagine that there was a place where if you were going to shoot someone in the head, all of their bodily fluids exsanguinating would not run over the regular floor. It would run into a disposable thing you could pick up, toss and clean out and put back.
Well,
A
some
sluice.
cultures,
A sluice.
Sure, there's a sluice.
some cultures just use plastic wrap on the floor, but that works too.
Thanks. Great.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
glad that my epic execution scene has turned into a comedy.
No,
Great.
it's like,
It's
like
a
in an
comedy
abattoir.
show.
It's like in an abattoir, yeah,
Yeah, sure.
an awful sluice. Yeah.
Yeah, that worked.
The drum roll begins, and we can see that each of the commissars is holding one of their targets forward. When they arrive, the Lord Colonel is attached to the whipping post silently, and Rafal is forced to his knees. Both of them have their honors stripped from them, their units of insignia, their rank, any sort of medals or service, until it's just them in blank uniforms. And even then, the uniform shirts are stripped off, and the two commissars simply wait for the Imperial commander to issue the final order as 3,000 people stand at the edge of a space hulk looking out over the distance, ready to kill these people and then toss them out a literal airlock.
I think there's only a moment of pause for Rassie, and then Rassie raises a hand and drops it, says fire.
Okay. Yar Tare shoots Rafal, and then the whippings begin for Renard. And it is hundreds of whippings until there is little more than a sack of bleeding meat left to the post. And his still miraculously alive body is thrown into the airlock and fired out into space afterwards, at which point the commissars begin reciting the charges against both men. The whole ceremony stops and waits for the Imperial commander to issue the next orders.
Return to your previous orders.
Okay.
Captain Octa Rain, with me.
The sound of 3,000 people suddenly falling out of a parade formation. The boot. I mean, I don't need to tell the two of you. You fucking know what it sounds like.
Oh, you missed your chance to zonk them, Kain.
The what?
To zonk them?
No.
Octarain appears at your side and begins walking alongside you, one step behind you. Sir.
There is a position of leadership that is now open. You are one of the officers that I am considering. I wish to hear you make a case for yourself.
My Cadian shock troopers are highly efficient. We are deadly marksmen, and under new leadership, this regiment will be repurposed and retasked, not with sitting on what we have gained, but in opening up new corridors and bringing back the treasures of ancient human past.
If I give you this command, what will you do about the disorderly conduct between your shock troopers and others?
We will restore order.
I'll turn and face her.
She stops walking.
Congratulations, Major. You are in command.
Sir. And she salutes you.
And I salute back and dismiss her.
There is that small matter of paperwork about the 143rd, which you solve with but a signature. Reestablishing the unit as not traitors, but as loyal auxiliaries attached to the rogue traitors' employ temporarily until reinforcements can arrive from Elysium. And as Imperial Commander, you could also issue an order asking for reinforcements from Elysium. However, I would point out asking for an entire regiment of people minus the 4 of you is basically like asking for a new regiment.
Yeah. I'm not going.
It's a reinforced battalion.
Okay. See, I want to be really clear here, though. Warhammer 40K is very, very clear about how Imperial Guard works. When a unit is this damaged, it is not reinforced. It is rolled into another unit.
Yeah. I'm not going to make a request for reinforcements for the 143rd. I'm not going to make a request for another regiment.
Okay.
I am going to acquire myself some of that Cadian equipment.
Would you like the whole company's worth?
Yes.
Okay. You issue orders for the Elysian equipment to be taken away from previously Colonel Renard's largesse, noblesse oblige, his charity to his own unit, and those men who once thought they conquered the sky are reduced once more to stock standard Imperial Guardsmen with rifles. And for the first time in 10 episodes, you find yourself strapping on a poorly maintained, dented and dinged, not properly cleaned Elysian jump gear, and you can add that to your character sheet.
Okay.
I would like a chat with Rassie at some point as well, when he's free.
And I will make an appointment with Major Rain in 2 weeks' time. I want an update on the status of the regiment.
Okay. It will be done. That is assuming, of course, that you are still planetary governor at that time.
Yeah. Could I add her as one of my Astra Militarum contacts?
Yeah, I don't see why not. It's been a big day for you. And that's just the first 12 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, I leave the space hulking and go back to the trading house.
Okay. Who's next?
Well, I'd like to catch up with Rassie at the training house.
Liturgical is not present, so it's just the 3 of you in your now much quieter offices. Someone comes in to deliver you lunches and delivers a 4th lunch for Liturgical, but just leaves it out on the table between Liturgical and Holly's desk.
All right. I put it in the fridge without labeling it.
It's worse. It's somehow worse than I thought it would be.
Amazing.
Rassie.
Sister?
So, first important question for you. Are you happy? Have you gotten what you wanted out of this situation?
So far it's been satisfying, but it wasn't why I did it. But it'd be denial to say that I didn't enjoy it.
All right. So I'm just conscious of the fact that we were given a pool of resources to use to accomplish our goals here. Certainly you've used one to accomplish something very important to you, which is I'm glad that you did. But I think that it would be remiss of us to not also try to use this temporary power you've been given to further the Rogue Traders' goals. Otherwise, you've simply just taken from the Rogue Traders resources for your own gain. We need to find a way to turn this into something that like a gain for the Rogue Trader as well. Whether or not it's specifically towards what we've been tasked with doing, or it is more general. I mean, I know that I know our Rogue Trader is a more militant individual, so I'm sure that good ties with the Militarum will never go astray. But you've got limited time. The clock is ticking now until you lose this power. So we need to find a way we can actually turn it to the benefit of the Darkwind trading house.
I do have this paperwork for Papa Orkers, whatever his name is, Pops, but I digress. I'm gonna go back to eating my sandwich.
I know you weren't there for the 5-minute conversation, but I did try to take great care to give that as members of the Darkwind Trading House and not as myself, to try to increase the standing between the Lord Captain and the Sector Lord. And I agree. This should be in some way tangible for the Lord Captain, but I want to make sure to tread carefully. I don't want to commit the same crimes that the former Lord Colonel did.
So I have a suggestion. Maybe while in your current capacity, you should meet with the naval head here and see if her weight and yours combined is enough to help her restock her macro cannons and potentially some extra for us. She is missing a load after it was stolen. I imagine if she had the power on her own to simply restock, she would. But potentially, perhaps a planetary governor working with her can make that happen.
It's true. And that would be of service to everyone here, not just us. Thank you for the suggestion.
Well, just a thought anyway. I still have more work to do on my own situation with the ecclesiarchy. We ran into this problem with the Colonel when we tried to go to the Space Hulk ourselves, originally to try and find Xenos for our corpulent friend on the other station. I imagine the way to the Space Hulk would be more open to us now. Is there anything on the Space Hulk we think we could get?
I want to give the Major a little bit of time, but then I could get copies of what they're able to pull out. I know the new Major is wanting to take a more proactive stance in reclaiming artifacts and technology that belong to mankind.
I mean, just as an example, if any of those Imperial ships that are in that conglomeration of metal happen to have lance batteries, obviously a lance battery doesn't require ammunition to pull that off and offer it to the rogue trader, will potentially start to alleviate some of the more fiduciary concerns of ammunition.
Indeed. Simply taking them would feel like the same abuse of power, but being able to ensure that we were able to purchase those before they went other places would certainly be something I'd be willing to do.
Yeah. I mean, this station is not part of the Imperium, so the rogue trader could exercise his right to simply claim them.
Would we be able to exercise that in his name?
Well, that sounds like an ecumenical question. We can maybe leave with Velamris to work out. I don't quite know the legalities of that. But if he is well disposed towards the militarum, then perhaps the idea that this technology would be passed over to someone that will use it for the betterment of the Imperium rather than simply stored here waiting for the Mechanicus to come back into good graces and come and collect it, that would be an easy case to make.
No, there is no official Adeptus Mechanicus representation here. I think it almost default to the rogue trader.
Well, I mean, it's a sort of thing that could get mired, I imagine, in legal challenges for decades, if not centuries, without the appropriate application of leverage.
Or perhaps executive orders filed correctly with the administratum, etc. I wonder what's on those ships. I wonder what they can pull off and bring back for us. For us, meaning, of course, for the Rogue Trader and good of humanity, not us in particular.
And there's probably also countless hordes of alien horrors between them and those technologies as well. So it's not simply a easy case of choosing something and taking it. But in any case, did you also want to look into why the Mechanicum is so reviled here?
I think there's sort of a twofold question there. First is, what did they do in the past here, and what are they doing where that young woman came from?
I mean, I imagine that the servitors going crazy in the docking bay wouldn't have boosted their case at all.
Oh, there's certainly aspects of heresy involved, I would argue, but I don't know as much as one might need to know to make that sort of call. My question is, was the intent behind the capture of Violetta to study and learn more, or was it to subvert it and use it for their own dark purposes?
What they were going to try to do with it, and regardless of their intentions, it seems that it's just not authorized. But I'm concerned that where she came from, there may be more. And I'm concerned whether or not they know that.
So far be it from me to stay the hand that wields the blade, but our job here is on this station for this trading house, that we have people watching us who have far more reach and authority than we do, who would surely have learned what we learned. Insofar as this Dark Mechanicum being on Violetta's homeworld, this Mechanicum force being on Violetta's homeworld, I don't know that's something that we need to try and necessarily address unless it poses a specific threat to our objectives here. And maybe we should allow our betters to deal with that at a higher level.
So perhaps for the short term, we try to determine why they were exiled from the station, and perhaps we can find some sort of connection between that and what we've already observed for ourselves, or shall we just leave it to the Inquisition?
Well, I'd like to know why they're exiled, because they're a faction that we can't currently pull on for resources, and if we got in the good graces, potentially if we were able to reconnect with the Mechanicum in some good way, that would help us achieve other goals too. When is the Maven's auction, AP?
It's crazy. It just kind of happens at the speed of plot, really.
Okay, so I'm just trying to remember, like, if there was a specific time frame we had to be. All right. Well, okay. Let's go to the board and let's sort things out with the Militarum, because we no longer have to. Yeah, we no longer have to worry about.
I did that once. I might have updated the board.
It's truly gone now.
Okay. So what's on the board, AP?
Fix things with the Mechanicum. Basketball game round 2. And Hoplite testing 4 days left. Promises to the Arbites over heresy accusations. Papa Winker's paperwork. Contact Crueltist Porcine Dealer. And SE optimization. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I had to stop myself from saying it.
Velamris will point out that the Papa Oinker's paperwork.
Papa Oinker's perpetual stew.
Pop's paperwork is complete. Just needs to be basically turned into the administratum and wait for it to come back.
I was under the impression that it had been submitted and you pulled it for my review.
Maybe I completed it and was ready for your review with the hope that maybe you would just sign off on it, but then realizing that would be a overstep of our newfound powers.
Well, we should. If you're familiar with how those processes work, if there's any way that you can expedite that, especially now that you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder.
Well, I have the servo skull, but I digress.
We
could certainly start it up a few steps later in the process than from starting point. I wonder if I take a stop to see Liturgical on my way to the Administratum offices, and then once at the offices, submitting this paperwork, and then also perhaps doing something of a record search to see what happened in regards to our AdMech friends. Does that seem like a viable plan of action for me for the day, or is there anything else I need to attend to?
That sounds fine. Remember, Naraji fruit are his favorite.
Yes, I intended to grab some. And I was going to see if I could find some Void Crisp, but I feel like that might be a bit, not so easy to find. Does anybody have any messages or anything you want me to take to Liturgical?
Not really. I just hope it makes a speedy recovery.
I shall extend the Lord Governor's compliments to him in your favor.
Rassie rolls his eyes.
Just to be clear, he's a planetary governor, but not a lord.
Fair.
In the same way that if Octa was made a colonel, she would be a colonel and not a lord colonel.
Correct. And I think that was just Velamris giving Rassie a little bit of shit because that's what he does.
You're going to the hospital wing here in the building to go see Liturgical?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to go check on him and see how he's doing.
The
And bring him some
hospital
Naraji.
wing is relatively empty. You see that there is some nursing staff, and they all are wearing extremely stereotypical Candy Striper style ancient Earth gear, with the hats and such. Yeah. The nurses see you approaching. The lights in here are kept dim intentionally, even though it is the middle of the solar day, I suppose. And the nurse says, "Well, hiya, haven't seen you down here before, Velamris. What are you here for?"
I was hoping to check with Liturgical, see how he's doing. And
yeah, it'd be nice for him to get a visitor. He's not doing very well, honestly. But we're hoping he'll pull through.
What is his... I almost am afraid to ask, but what is his current status?
We should probably have a doctor talk to you about that.
You're
just going to need to fill out this paperwork.
Oh, well, that's a good thing for me. That paperwork is my second language.
Step 1 on the paperwork. List your name, citizen identification number, etc. Step 2, what relation do you have with the patient?
He's my supervisor.
So the doctor comes over after about 20 minutes from when you finish your paperwork. You can see he's practicing his golf swing on the way over. He's like, "Hey, Velamris, what's going on?"
Oh, the usual, Doc.
Yeah.
And tell me, how is our favorite cantankerous patient? I almost said
let's
passenger.
walk and talk.
Absolutely.
He holds out a hand for you to shake as you're standing up. He says, "His name's Davith, Dr. Davith. You can just call me Dave."
Oh, well, pleasure to meet you, Doc.
Dr. Dave. Yep,
Dr.
that's what
Dave.
they call me around here. All right, so he lost one of his kidneys, and we had to patch up one of the lungs. We've been pumping him with drugs. He's still unconscious and has been since the incident. He has a slight eyesight problem. That's a joke. We know he doesn't have eyes. Just thought I'd throw that in there. And he suffered a pretty large spike of intracranial pressure. So we've had to be pretty careful. We think that there may have been some slight side effects as a result of that intracranial pressure. He may honestly never recover. We're not really sure at this point. We're doing everything we can for him. We have some of the best doctors on this station, which is a terminology that is basically meaningless. Sorry. We have some of the best medicae on this station.
If you were to put a percentage on it, Doctor, what are we looking at for
I don't
him
answer
being?
hypothetical questions.
That's fair. Prognosis is not good, though.
He hasn't woken up yet. It could be 2 minutes, could be 2 years.
Right.
We've got him in
Has
a
anybody
breathing mask and a
tried-
feeding tube, so...
Is there any
you've
sign
got
of...
Narahes. I love those
Yes.
things.
Well, they're for him.
Okay,
He likes
there's
these as
absolutely
well.
no chance that those will fit down a feeding tube.
No, probably
But
not.
we will juice them for him.
That might help. He may feel better for that. Is there any sign whatsoever of cognizance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Has anybody tried? Well, I imagine there's only a few psychers available in general, and not many would be in the know or his circle. But has anybody tried
Yeah.
any sort of
So
psyker connection?
I have to be straightforward with you here. I don't know how much Liturgical has told you about his past, but I think there's a fair chance that the Adepta Telepathica are not going to come to his aid. So that's a tree we're not even going to bark up.
Has anybody? I'm nobody, but I wonder if there's a way I could contact him.
Are you a psyker?
No, but I'm wondering if my presence might.
Do you want to just stand beside him and talk to him?
I wonder if that would help him.
Okay. Yeah. He's right here. He opens the door. You see Liturgical is bandaged up. He's in like a bunch of compression bandages. Why are you
Yeah.
smiling and laughing at that?
I'm
That's
just
so
picturing in my
cool.
head that, he's right here, and you open it up, and there he is on the bed. And it's nothing but bandages and tubes and machines
Yeah,
that
that's
are
exactly
all
what
beeping.
it is. Yeah, he's covered in
Yeah.
bandages and tubes. You can see that there's surgery scars on his chest, which are in the process of bandaging back over them.
I want to stand next to him for a moment, observe him, and then if I could touch, like skin to skin, like his hand or his shoulder or something, and see if that can jar him, or I don't want to say jar, but like obviously Velamris doesn't want to hurt him, but just try to give him some sort of. I know he's not psychic, and Velamris wouldn't know this either, but just some sort of reassurance, comfort, support, hang in there, buddy, kind of thing. He'll probably be muttering some of this stuff too under his breath and imagining that Liturgical can hear what he's saying.
Okay. I would like a roll.
I was gonna say, am I gonna roll here? 'Cause now I'm starting to get a little nervous.
Gonna roll. I think I would like you to roll your fellowship, just your fellowship with nothing to it.
Oh, that's not a good sign. That is not a
Wow,
good sign.
you're like, how can I connect with him?
Yeah,
How do I
I
reach
know.
these kids in a way that doesn't use the skill I use for talking to people? Fantastic. Only through the art of the dance. I'll use my agility to communicate with these kids.
Actually, I was gonna
Just
suggest.
interpretive dance in the room.
Actually, I wonder. Damn, no, my willpower is not much better than my fellowship, so I don't
It's
know if that would
fellowship.
really.
You're not going to talk me out of this one.
Yeah.
It's fellowship.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna spend a fate point to
Okay.
give myself advantage,
Sure.
just to see if maybe that'll help.
Well, when your skill's that low, it will help.
Wow.
Wow.
You succeeded.
Crawling across the line with a +0. Nice.
25 against a 26. Success
Just
is
to be
a
really
success.
clear, folks at home, he rolled a 52, but the advantage reversed it.
Details.
You touch his hand, and you are briefly drawn into a realm of nightmares where everything around you, it looks like demons, or what you imagine demons to look like, are around you, like dancing, like, There's like a blue one that splits to become 2 pink ones, and then splits to become 4 blue ones, and then they all recombine into a purple one. And while they're doing all of this, flamethrowers are going off everywhere. Liturgical is before you. You see him like naked, in this place, and he looks at you, eyeless, and goes, and then you are cast out of his mind back into the real world, and you feel him squeeze your hand slightly, and there's like a quickened pulse, like beep, beep, before going back to like beep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to take some
Maybe some corruption.
Yeah.
for gazing upon the horrors of the warp.
Yeah. How much am I taking? Just
Let's
one,
see
two,
here.
80?
I have to look it up. I didn't know you were going to force a human connection with a guy who is currently fighting for his life.
I mean, I had a feeling that Velamris doesn't understand psyker stuff, but he knows on some level that it was a tremendous effort to maintain that connection. And now that Liturgical's in dire need of Medicaid and possibly even psyker assistance, Velamris wants to try to help him. He might be kind of an asshole for a boss, but he's his boss and he's not a bad person overall.
Okay.
He figures that assholeness is because he's a psyker.
You can make a discipline test to reduce this corruption.
What
You
is
have
my
to get,
discipline?
it's a minor exposure, so you're going to be taking 1 point of corruption. You have to get 1 success level in order to reduce that to a 0.
Well,
Discipline's a skill.
yeah, I'm rolling it. I'll just roll it as is. Nope, I have no discipline. I lack discipline.
You
Shocker.
wanna maybe fate that, or you just want to accept your twisted nightmares?
I will accept the twisted nightmares. Velamris
Very
went
well.
into that knowing A, that he didn't know anything about psycherness, but Liturgical has explained to some degree that he is literally always under attack, and Velamris knew to some degree what that meant. Probably not the full scope, but he went into it voluntarily. So I will take my 1 point of corruption and hope for the best, because I don't know what that means exactly in this context.
Somewhere deep in your mind, you gain knowledge of Tzeentch's primordial rune, the strange half U-shaped squiggly line with a dot and then a squig. Look it up; it's real.
I've probably seen a rune very much like that.
It's subconscious to you now. You understand its presence around you in the warp at times. It disturbs you, your knowledge of the rune. And then Liturgical's hand lets go of yours. Dr. Javeth, aka Dr. Dave, Doc Dave, is like,
Doc Dave, yep.
wow. You really put the pressure on him there, huh?
He could be a bit of a tool, but he's a
I
good
just
guy.
want to be very clear here, though, that this patient just suffered intracranial pressure, so his blood pressure suddenly spiking is not good. It's bad.
I will see what I can do to refrain from causing that
I'm
to
sure
happen.
knowing that at least one person came to visit him and cares about his life has meant a lot to him.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. We don't get a lot of visitors in here, and this guy hasn't gotten any, so.
Well, I'll try to come by more often. Could you notify me if anything serious happens or changes?
Yeah, of course. I can call you in between messing around with the nurses. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, I got I got 9 holes to shoot right now, so
Well, I hope they don't shoot back.
you come out on the links with us sometime.
I prefer a different type of shooting, personally, but maybe sometime I will.
Hey, don't do drugs.
That's not the shooting I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I guess I'll head off to the administratum.
Okay. You're setting aside the paperwork?
Yes, I'm going to drop off the POPs paperwork.
Okay. When you drop it off with a short British man who looks extremely officious, who raises his spectacles up slightly to take a look at it and says, "This paperwork must be countersigned by a planetary governor, which we have not had ever.
Yes.
It must be recommunicated to another planet which has an imperial governor.
Perhaps
I
you
am
haven't
now
heard
going
then.
to fill out the form to indicate
Right.
that I have received your paperwork and am retasking it to you to communicate
Hold on, let me
elsewhere.
stop you right there. I'm going to
Very
save you a
well.
little bit of time. We have a planetary governor assigned to this facility now.
I see. There is a planetary governor.
Yes.
Please fill out this paperwork to identify the planetary governor. We have
Yes,
3
yes.
million documents on back order awaiting.
Oh no! Why?
He hands you a form to identify the planetary governor. At the bottom, it requires the signature of the sector lord.
Of course it fucking does.
Omar, have you reached the administratum quest in
No, I
Rogue
have
Trader
it. I have it. Very well. I will take this paperwork and start filling it out. I shall return in, well, due time.
Very well.
Thanks for your effort. That was
Next customer, please. Ding. As the next person comes up.
I think there's a part of Velamris just like, I fucking knew better than this. I thought I had all my T's crossed and I's dotted. I missed one. And since I'm
Look,
there,
2 paths lie before you. You
Oh,
can
dear.
send this paperwork off to another planetary governor to sign and complete, or you can ruin Rassie's life.
I think after some introspection, we will try the more expeditious matter that does not involve Rassie being plummeted into a vacuum of paperwork of which he can never escape without
Which
being
planet
relieved.
would you like to send your paperwork to?
Which planet would I feel like I might get a quicker response?
You're a small town boy from a forge world living in a lonely universe. I don't know that you know a lot about politics, so let's make it a lore roll.
All right, I can do that.
And if you fail this, I'm going to pick a bad planet, which will cause
Of course
bad
you
things
are.
to happen to you.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
I will put another fate and get advantage on this one.
Okay.
Son of a bitch.
The doubles. Do you even have any fate left already?
I have 1 point left right now.
So you're pulling a me and just going through it.
Yeah,
Getting it
yeah,
in.
and I haven't even done the archive dump yet for figuring out about the AdMech. But I really don't feel like having my wingman buried in mountains of backorder planetary governor bullshit administravium. So I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay.
And hope for the best.
That's it. That's all your fate.
Yep. When I re-roll it continues with advantage, am I right?
I don't know if it'll give you advantage, but you should have advantage on the reroll.
Okay. That's better.
Okay. Your 73 becomes a 37. You know that this Rogue Trader house has a connection to Titan Slayer, and that if
Okay.
you send this paperwork out to Titan Slayer, they may just sign off on it without double checking anything.
Okay. And we will send it there.
Okay. You put it on a Chartist captain ship. It should arrive in the next 10 years.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And this is the Popper Oinkers paperwork?
Yes, we're gonna
Okay.
try to. I mean, by the way, I'm not sending. This isn't my only copy. Like they're getting.
Yeah, I
I'm
understand.
keeping the original.
I mean,
you know, in
look,
case
this is the
there's other
administratum.
avenues.
You're used to filling things out in triplicate for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So if we do end up with
You've
a
got
faster,
one of those devices that when you move the pen, 3 other pens move at the
Yes,
same time.
yeah.
An auto quill.
Auto quill. Yes,
Actually, I think I
yes.
actually do have an auto quill. And then while I'm there, I think I'm going to just send a quick text message of sorts to Rassie with an update for about the paperwork that I've sent it through this Chartist captain to Titan's Lair, saving him immeasurable years of his life.
Wait, so this particular paperwork had to be signed off by a planetary governor.
This is the Papa Oinkers make it official within the Imperium. Yes.
Okay. So
now, to be clear, the Papa Oinkers working with the rogue trader, totally separate.
Right. But
this is to spread the business out within the greater Imperium.
Yeah, this is good. We should tell Papa Oinker it's going to be 10 years. He'll be positively enthusiastic about how fast that's happening.
Yeah.
In the Imperium, yeah. Like, and he's got to. You know, that was more about getting us, like, you know, training commissions. Like he's got his work cut out for him just with the road trader stuff. But in the future, we can franchise.
Right. Okay. But, you know, or like Rassie just asks like the clarifying question and gets the admin technobabble back from to answer like, yes, this does need a planetary governor signature.
But just to be clear, we're not removing it from the board until it's finished. So it's going to stay on the board for the next 10 years just to annoy Liturgical.
If Liturgical survives, because that's the other half of the initial message that Velamris is going to send back before he does his data dive, is that Liturgical condition is questionable, and currently the prognosis is it's not looking good for him surviving. But he is apparently currently stable-ish for now.
Wow, what an incredible, thrilling review medically.
Well, Velamris is not a doctor.
In case I forget, AP, next time I go back to my self-arrest, I will send Liturgical thoughts and prayers.
You're going to change your profile picture too? Oh, man, that was too much.
Just Rohan Liturgical
sends Gondor thoughts and prayers. Theoden updates his profile pic.
I hear that Liturgical's doing badly. And having heard Liturgical's comment about being under constant struggle, I think Rassie wants to go visit Liturgical.
And I can save my data dump or data dive for a little bit later in the stream if you want. I've got a cat that I need to go distract.
Yeah, I think we should take the break here. When we come back, we'll do the Rassie Liturgical team up you've been waiting for the entire season. Someone said that it's my affiliate anniversary. I don't know if that's true or not, but congratulations to me. You've made it almost, I don't know, 10 years or something. You could tell I'm really looking forward to this. Hey, we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Mind. I'm trying to remember and play with intention that Rassie is a moron. So.
I think Velamris just saved you from decades of paperwork, mostly back paperwork.
We're back for the second of three halves of this episode.
Second of three halves.
Rassie, as you enter Liturgical's medical suite, guided by one of the nurses, you watch as his blood pressure, pulse, all of his life signs immediately fall as soon as you get within a few feet of him. Sorry, this is a British system. Within a meter of him.
They still use feet, don't they?
I don't know.
The British do.
I'm pretty sure the Warhammer 40K is like, it's one Space Marines in length. Some shit like that. Wasn't James saying that like they measure thing in the length of Bane blades or some shit?
1/10 of a Bane blade.
That was from an FFG module that described the opening of a fort as being the width, two Bane blades parked side by side. So we made the joke that everything is measured in Bane blades. But no, Britain used feet and inches for height, but stone for weight. So.
Yes, stone. A simple calculation there, stone.
Yeah, such a great number to work with.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the case now. That's what my mother used, and she was British. So
I see. Well, when she was British.
But yeah, I think with what Liturgical has said in the past and what he told Rassie about himself and the struggle that he's dealing with right now in his recovery, Rassie thinks that maybe this could help if he spends time giving Liturgical a break. And we'll sit down and pull out a scroll or something to read. And we'll stay next to his bed.
It's been a while since we've done this. I just want Rassie doing the side cam with the audience, just being like, "I'm helping," and then cut to you like sleeping on the end of the bed, eating his Jello.
Or finding the oranges that Velamris left behind and snacking on them.
Just peeling one and eating it right in front of Liturgical. Yeah,
I feel like the doctor took those.
Yeah, well, he's gonna juice them, he said. But...
yeah, he is gonna juice them. Whether Liturgical will get that juice or not is up in the air.
Yeah.
No, I think that there's probably an IV bag of Narahi juice. It's like conspicuously orange. It's slightly glowing in a way that's concerning.
But yeah, Rassie's got the scroll. He'll pull another chair up or something to put his feet on, and yeah, he'll eat the Jello. It's not going anywhere. And as far as he's concerned, he is helping. He's very passively helping, but he thinks he's helping give Liturgical the break that he needs to recover from his injuries. Whether he is or isn't, he thinks he is.
The Jello is kiwi flavored.
Oh man, this is amazing.
But for some reason,
Liturgical needs another cup.
All right, one of the nurses comes over and gives you a look like, that's some bullshit, but she gives you another Jello and says, make sure he eats the whole thing. And she looks at you and gives you another look like,
Of course.
She clucks her teeth, making that, and then leaves the room. Right when she's 90% of the way out, she turns to give you another look and then continues away.
That's the I'm watching you look.
Are we cutting away from Rassie reading a newspaper?
That's basically what Rassie plans to do for a while.
Okay. Holly and Velamris, the dream team, together again.
Well, my next thing is to try and get in front of
Evangeliel.
Yeah, but I know that may take time to organize as well. So I think I'm just busying myself. Like you say, we've been so hardcore on pursuing these not thermostats, what do you call them?
Thermometers.
Your thermometers, your goals. Yeah. You have to achieve these KPIs.
Yeah. So right now, with the gripple sort of stuff, if Holly's is waiting for meetings or whatever, then she's probably just I don't know what hobbies Holly would have in order to sort of. I don't have much time for hobbies.
Does she read the? Does she read those? Yeah, that's I was trying to think what the word was.
Slutty genealogies.
Does the rogue trader does the compound have any sort of library? I'm sorry, librarian.
It does. You do know that there is a more considerable one on the rogue trader's private estates.
Yeah.
Where you met with the Chamberlain, Drablian Fringus.
Can I send an internal email to him to ask whether I can come to the estates for not necessarily for me. I'll be clear. I'd like to peruse the rogue traders'
genealogies,
fine collections.
Of course. You receive a scroll back through the vacuum tube system of the trading house.
Sorry.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Guys, we've all been to a bank before. We know what it sounds like.
They don't have them at banks here. They only had them at
Well, we have them here at hospitals, banks, government facilities in the 70s and 80s. New York
the only
City.
place I've seen them at here is a chain of stores that are like a stationery, like a Staples. type store here, and they use them to do like the cash, to send the cash up after they clear it and register. That's the only place I've seen them in Australia.
I've seen them all over the place.
Yeah, I bet. They're not arcane technology, just to be very clear. This is pretty normal, everyday use. You do receive, so Drablium will send a shuttle over to pick you up.
Okay. If Velamris is not otherwise entwined, would you like to visit the Rogue Trader's estates? I'm just going to peruse his librarium.
Well, Velamris is still at the Administratum because there was one more task he wanted to do. But should the opportunity ever arise, he would definitely be willing to take a look.
I don't know if all
we
these
can have
scenes
Polly
are like
wait
happening
until you're ready.
I get the impression these are vignettes rather than scenes that are happening all at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
The 24 clock is going off right now. Beep, boop, beep,
boop. Yeah, Velamris would love to check out the library, or whatever the appropriate 40K word for library
Librarium.
would be. Librarium. Yeah, that sounds right.
It's Harry Potter Latin, all right? Just
you travel to a place that you yourself have not been to before. Velamris. You travel through open space over to it's hard to call it small. It is a private estate encapsulated in a bubble that is basically a floating bubble mansion that rotates around all the other asteroids in the ring that has formed around the Space Hulk. A very strange man meets with you. He says, "Yes, of course. Velamris Quineel. I've heard of you. I am the Rogue Trader's Chamberlain and various other stewardship-related tasks. Drablian Frangus. Sister Holly, it is good to see you again. I hope that your mind is sharp for future negotiations over the seed of my master."
Yeah, I hope you've been well, Master Frangus.
I have been eating well, yes. I find this place enriching.
And thank you for receiving us at short notice.
Of course. I will have a cheese board and wine set up for the two of you in the librarium.
Excellent. Thank you.
Do not get anything on the scrolls.
Of course not.
Master Frangus, I should have thought of this before I came, but next time I return here, I don't know how often you leave the estate. Can I bring you anything?
I find that it is better for my physical health if I do not leave these estates. One may find untoward things happening on sites Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta.
That's certainly been my observation. But my question remains, is there anything that I could bring you from the rest of, either from the offices, or from the trading house, or from the station in general?
He turns towards you and gives you an odd look up and down and says, "No, I can arrange for whatever I need. Very kind of you. Just your presence is enough to fill my heart with joy."
Yeah, well, the offer always stands. And should you ever simply desire company, please do reach out. I have, in amongst both the services I do for our Lord Captain and for my order, I try to keep some spare time to engage with people that are of strong caliber.
Very well. He turns, walks with you through the garden path to the front door, and when the door opens, he double claps, and some servitors begin carrying a large, incredibly heavy wooden table into the librarium so that the two of you have some place to sit down and eat.
Ah, so you have a clapper.
It's an older generation thing, but it works out well.
Well, whatever works, right?
Yes, Velamris Quineel. Whatever works.
Thank you, Master Frankus.
I apologize. I'm feeling very low energy today. I will withdraw in order to regain sustenance. He gives you both a slight bow and a nod, and then he fluffs out his tailcoats as he departs deeper into the darkness of the manor.
Well, anything in particular you're looking here for, sister, or were you just browsing?
I'm sure it won't take me long to find something that I'll become heavily involved in. So, I'd pour us both a wine from the wine board or from the wine policy.
Thank you. Wonder, and he's gonna start muttering something about the Cow's dynasty, and starts kind of just browsing, looking for anything he hasn't seen before relating to, I guess, effectively a competitor rogue trader from the other side of the galaxy.
So, what was your interest in the Cow's dynasty?
Well, it's something of a, I don't know if myth is the right word. I'm sure you know of the living saint, Sister Dawn Latania.
Of course.
For a time, she was a member of a rogue trader's entourage, and some things I have found have been quite interesting, but there's a lot of information that is nebulous and not well interconnected with other bits of information. So something of a passion hobby of mine to reconstruct the quote-unquote adventures of the Hand of Calixus.
Interesting. Well, my reason for being here has something to do with that particular. Well, they are a part of why I'm here. That lineage.
Oh, that's very interesting. What are the odds? Trillions of souls across the galaxy, and two tangentially connected fans of the same subject.
I don't know if fan's quite the right word, but
Probably not. I couldn't think of a better word fast enough. Perhaps I had too much of this very fine wine too fast. But yes,
the two of you bond over a copy of the Canticles of Thorn, which is the official holy book reciting the life and times of Sister Dawn Latania.
I think my favorite story is when she led the fleet through this warp as a navigator might, using only her faith in the God Emperor as a beacon. I'm probably jumbling some of those words around a little bit, but that particular story really stands out in Velamris's mind.
I mean, it's important that sometimes these stories are parables.
Sure.
It may not have been an actual, journey through the warp, or it could be a metaphor for some other difficulty, and but the importance is that the faith we have in these stories.
Yes, I agree. Still, it's a wonder to have lived in such times before the fall of Cadia. Although I feel like the fall of Cadia wasn't too terribly long ago. Like 1,000 years, am I right?
Oh, hundreds, I think, but not thousands. Hundreds.
Mm.
They're right, AP. This is post Indominus Crusade.
Yes.
So about 200 years.
Okay. I was thinking a little bit further back than that, but.
Yeah.
And AP, does the Rogue Trader have anything that maybe Velamris hasn't seen before regarding anything related to the cows?
Yeah, I think plenty in here. A lot of it is related to the Tyrant Star, the Blind Tesseract, like unredacted documentation that has escaped inquisitorial view. Just to be clear, like if you gaze upon these things, you will forever be scarred by your knowledge of events.
Sure.
Okay. Let's make a lore roll.
You know what? I've already got a corruption.
I'm out. If I'm not mistaken, I'm out of fate. So, but what I am curious is, well, let's just see how this roll goes with no additional.
Don't roll. Just let me quickly check something because I've taken a new talent, which I believe gives you a benefit on discipline rolls when in my presence.
Oh.
Well, it's a lore roll.
So, sorry, I mean, if he was going to take corruption, sorry.
Well, let's do the lore roll
sorry.
first.
Well, I don't get anything.
I mean, there's so many books. You spend a lot of your time just picking. You know how it is, where like you lose all your motivation. You're like, I don't know which one to start with.
I don't know
first.
where. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And like, at some point, real humans come through, like servants, and are gently like a waiter at a restaurant when you've been there for 2 hours and they're tired of refilling your coffee. You're taking a seat that they could, be getting tips from. They're gently nudging you out of the house, like, how was your meal? Hope you guys enjoyed the wine here and the cheese. Let's just clean up this board in front of you. Can we take some of those scrolls from you? It seems like you've got too many on your table here, and we were just checking. Your shuttle's waiting for you outside whenever you're ready to go back. Just so happy to have you here at the Rogue Trader's private estate.
But please take your time. Take your time.
Take all the time that you need. Holly, is there anything you want to do while Velamris is getting shuffled?
Since he raised it, I'd like to know: is there an unusual amount of books about the Chaos Dynasty here? Like, does he clearly have an interest, or is it on par with other Rogue Trader houses?
No roll needed. There is an unusual number of books about lineage of various Rogue Trader houses. The cows, there is a lot, but not comparative to the other ones. From what you can see here, he's tracking the lineages of a lot of inactive or fallen Rogue Trader houses as well. This seems to be an area of interest that he has.
All right.
I think we've really briefly touched on it, and it appeared as a commercial for this show. But there are a number of shipless Rogue Traders that live in the asteroid belt, trying to beg for new ships to come in. Like, they have a warrant, but they have nothing attached to it anymore because they've lost their estate, they've lost their ship. So while they still have the authority of a warrant, they have no way of enforcing it because they have no power. And it is these Rogue Traders, there are over 20 of them, that he has kept very strict genealogical records and also like administrative financial records. It looks like he's been researching everything he can about all of their houses. So there is a lot about the Cal's house. There's way more than you'd expect, but it's nowhere near as thorough as these debunked houses that are actually in this system.
So let me pitch something at you. So I'm going to compare this to a real thing. So in Australia, for example, in order to open a pharmacy, like a chemist or a dispensary for medication,
apothecary,
you have to have a pharmacist. You have a degree in pharmacy. So you can't open a store that sells medication unless you have somebody that has that degree. And even if you're like a massive chain store that, like, a CVS or whatever, that wants to open up a whole bunch of stores, you can't open a new store unless you have a person that has the degree required to attach to that store to be the person in charge, so to speak. So these major chains go through and try and find people that have the degree but don't have the money to start their own business, and effectively just like pull them into their orbit and say, okay, we're gonna basically use your degree to open a store, and you'll be the name on the lease, but you're not actually doing anything useful. You're just there so that we can then transact a business through your good name.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if there's
business
something
with China before. I know how this works. Yeah,
I wonder if there's a similar exploitable element here with these shipless Rogue Traders.
Very interesting. What a supposition. Let's make a roll.
Yeah.
Logic test, I should think, and there might be a subcategory that will be relevant. Not that you...
I don't have any subcategories.
I didn't think you did, but
no.
Just for the folks at home, they want to know if they can do it better than you. Evaluation. Determining the worth of perceived qualities. Yeah, that would be for this.
So I can't ask Velamris to help. Well, actually, what I can do is, because I asked Velamris if he can do it.
And then do you help him?
I help him because I have attentive assist. Well, sorry, can I give you a favor, AP? Because I can't add trait talents to my character sheet because I've got to come from the compendium. So can you please add attentive assistant and inspiring presence from the talent compendium?
All right, let's see here. You're saying words. And I don't want to add a new talent. I can drag one from the compendium, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Should be able to.
Or
I'll delete that new.
book. Items, maybe? Journal entries? Oh, here's talents under items. You want me to add which two?
So attentive assistant and inspiring presence.
They should be added.
Okay. So working together, he can make a logic roll with advantage.
You manipulate him to do the work for you while you feed him raw data.
I mean, you say manipulate, but I feel like you give Velamris raw data. You're just giving him a direction in which to focus his search. All right, so I'm making a logic with advantage.
Is a AESA array. Got it.
Don't know what that means, but
electronically scanned array. Don't worry about it.
So this is a logic test, and I get advantage because Holly is assisting in some way.
Yeah. So even though I don't have the skill, the attentive assistant allows you to give assistance without the skill.
All right, I am rolling. If you are ready,
this is going to be James's new manipulative thing: is to encourage people to do his rules for him.
Unfortunately, that did not do very well for us.
It's an impressive failure.
I am impressive, yes.
You come to the wrong conclusion. I'm going to tell you the wrong conclusion, and your character believes it. You believe, based on these documents, cross-checking them, that there is some sort of secret plan in play to take control of restauranting businesses. Several of these rogue traders, while they may not have estates and they might not have ships, they still own things like patents and conceptual, like intellectual property. And through a web that only you in your administrative mind can see, you believe that there is an opportunity to seize enough intellectual property and copyright laws and things like that and shares to take control of two different restaurants on two different seemingly unrelated planets in a web of intrigue and conspiracy.
I know what it is. It's because we've both been involved in Poperoinkers. We've got confirmation of plans.
Yes. Yeah.
Truly, this plot, which could take years to execute, could net him thousands of throne gelts every year in profit. Thousands of throne gelts. What a devious mind a rogue trader must have. All he has to do is marry these 20 plus rogue traders into his bloodline. So he just needs to have 20 plus kids, plus his primary heir, marry them all in, and then he can perfectly assemble the house of cards necessary to seize control.
No, well, this plays into my plans perfectly because you can't have children without an heir, a partner to well, not an heir, like
Don't mind me, I'm a dumbass today. It's rough. You're right, I'm wrong.
Yep. All right, so this gives us something to work on then.
Indeed. I'm not even sure, like me, the player, I'm not sure if I followed half of that anyway. But
I like the idea that while you guys are pulling out red yarn to put between different scrolls and books on the table, Rassie's got like the sunglasses are still on and the news scroll against his chest, and he's just softly snoring next to liturgical.
just so we don't forget.
With two empty Jello cups.
Just don't forget, could you please add Restaurant Empire to the blackboard?
Mm-hmm. Restaurant Empire. You want to add fake Restaurant Empire to the board?
Not fake. Don't do us like that.
Okay, I'll put Restaurant Empire, and then I will put fake in
parentheses.
GM notes.
GM notes.
All right. What we need now is we need to work on a pitch for when liturgical comes around.
Okay. You catch a shuttle back to your home rock. The shuttle has Sic Transit Gloria Mundus 2 on the side of it, and it looks almost exactly like a Star Trek The Next Generation style shuttle.
I've got nothing else.
So
other than
which
the
one
data
of us
diving I want to do.
Which one of us should change our long-term goal to the Western Empire? Like we need to fail forward here.
So
know what?
desperately worried about this.
Oh man, would Velamris go for it? I don't know if Velamris would go for it because he's not thinking restaurant. Like he doesn't want to be the next Burger King. You know, like that's not
What
that's
about
not
the
within
next
his.
Burger God Emperor?
I mean, I don't know.
Next Burger Space King.
There you go, Space Burger King.
Did everyone here watch Space King recently on YouTube?
Never heard of
No, same.
Okay. After this show, when you get a chance, go and look up Space King on YouTube. It's
I
a
don't know.
40K parody.
I don't know if Velamris would really want to buy into trying to. I mean, he would do it.
I was
If he
joking
did
about
it-
changing life goals, by the way.
Yeah. I think he would do it if he thought it would help the Rogue Trader. Like if he thought that was the Rogue Trader's long-term plan or whatever, he would do
Well, I
it
think
then.
isn't that the problem? We think that is the Rogue Trader's long-term plan. Like,
That whole result of your role is you think that
Yeah.
that's one of his goals.
Yeah.
One of his devious, complicated goals.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Sorry, what is this thing I'm looking up on YouTube?
Space King.
Space King. I'm so afraid to click on it based on the thumbnail.
It's long. You have to watch after the show. It goes
A
like 15
sci-fi
minutes.
action comedy. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's definitely a complete parody of 40K.
Hey, audience, looking right at you. I prefer sci-fi office comedy. Got him. What's the next step? Does anyone have anything they want to put forward, or do you want to let time pass?
I do want to do some research into the AdMech.
Okay. How do you imagine that happening?
Well, initially, I'm looking at this as probably being something of a multiple step operations. The first one would be looking to see what the incidents or series of incidents were that led to them being exiled. And then probably trying to find a way to connect that with what we already know or suspect based on the Tyranid reveal and the connection to the AdMech being on Violet's homeworld, as well as Velamris' own understanding of the AdMech from being raised on an AdMech world or Forge world. Ultimately, what he's trying to determine is, are these guys Dark Mechanicum, or are these guys legit and there's things that we should just not be playing with?
So, I mean, so checking to see about whether they're Dark Mechanicum and checking to see why they were booted out are two very different passive investigation.
Sure.
Which one are you interested in starting
We'll start
at?
with initially. We'll initially start with why they got exiled.
Okay.
Like what led to that?
I think this is going to revolve around going out and just talking to people and looking up administrative records. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like this, it happened so long ago that there are no living witnesses. It was over 100 years ago. You would need to find someone
Didn't
who
think it was
was
that long.
alive 100 years ago.
Go back to the station newspaper and pull out the microfiche and go through all the old headlines.
Yeah, I mean, that's
would
kind of what
point out
I didn't
that
realize
you
it was that
know
long
of
ago.
You know of at least one person who was alive 100 years ago. Not a
That's
regular citizen by far.
True. call?
Who's that?
The
Space
guy
Marine
that we
librarian.
fed people soup to.
Who's that?
The
I'm
Halo
sorry.
Stars guy, remember?
Oh,
Yeah.
the Ice Method dude?
Yeah.
Mikhail something or other?
Yeah. McCall Method.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or as I said, the Space Marine librarian that did the ritual for although he's on a different planet. And
He's not here.
we have to
He's
kill more
nowhere
cycles to
nearby.
contact him.
He answered that phone call. He didn't make it.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Primaris, so almost certainly he wasn't alive 100 years ago. You know what I mean? He's
Well, I
fresh.
mean,
He's got that
it
baby
depends.
bottle fresh.
It depends whether he was newly minted or if he crossed the Rubicon. He could have been
Rubicon for sure.
Well, that means he was a regular Marine before. Like so, he's got a so crossing the Rubicon Primaris is when a firstborn Marine becomes Primaris,
Right.
As opposed to a
agree.
child being.
But it doesn't
given
somehow make you hundreds
just
of
me.
years older, right? You're just a regular person that's now.
But no, because he could have been hundreds of years old as a Marine,
Oh,
and
I
then
see.
become Primaris.
Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
guarantee that he definitely was not on this station at that time. So he didn't have a scene where he walked through the public and someone dropped to their knees crying and went, "His angels."
Are we losing Kain? He looks like he's frozen and dropping from.
He does look like he's
down.
frozen.
Yeah. He was off. He dropped off after it came back again.
A couple of times, but now it looks like he's here now.
Well.
We'll see.
So you think
Yeah.
you can dance?
Hey, one of my favorite April Fool's jokes of all time is when the Blizzard website for World of Warcraft on April Fool's had the fact they were bringing in a new competition called "So you think you can slash dance?"
Oh man.
Are we in the wrong camera order now?
Kain
Yeah,
was
okay.
the last.
The one thing I liked for April, since we're talking about April Fools for a brief second, this last April 1st, Star Trek Online, for that one day, all of your sound effects were basically people going pew, 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 boom, whoosh. It was fucking hilarious. Anyways. I'm definitely going to go the microfiche route because, as we all know, Velamris is not a very good people person. He's not a fan. Hang on one second, guys. My son needs something from me.
So I'm good until I can get this meeting with Evandriel. I've given some flavor of Holly's personal life.
We cut to a scene. The three of you enter a vault door. It opens. It closes behind you. We see a familiar looking opaque screen. We hear a voice. "Okay, you're clear to come through." The sound of a buzzer. A door opens. And the door to N. Hoplites' testing zone is now open.
There's all of us.
It's the three of you.
All right.
Yeah, these are important test results for all of us.
Yeah. Let's see what they say.
Sorry, I haven't had much time to come past in the last few weeks.
It's been glorious without you. Rassie, he offhandedly, like he must be much stronger than he looks. He offhandedly, one-handedly tosses you the rifle, and then puts the paperwork down between Velamris and Holly, the people he considers to be the ones that will understand what's going on. He has given a green check mark and says, "Well, it's a fraction of a % under spec from a standard Imperial Guardsman rifle, and if you were to pass this off to the Imperium, they would burn you for heresy, but everything checks out. We used it to play golf with some doctors. We slammed it up against some walls, shot it down, fully covered all the testing parameters you requested, and then we did a 98-point checklist as well for our own record keeping. We believe that if all of the pieces come out like this one, they're going to perform A-OK.
So just a question here.
Yeah.
On the form, you put a green tick next to taste test.
Mm-hmm.
What did that involve?
So what we do is we take the gun's barrel, like we disassemble the gun, then we take the barrel, we plug it with our thumb, we fill the barrel with hot soup, and then we pour it into our mouths, and we make sure that we can get the proper taste that we should be getting out of the electrolysis steel. If you don't, you know that there are some defects in the chemical process of manufacturing the weapon. You want to get that proper, like, tangy flavor from your oyster soup.
It's such an interesting way to test the metallicity.
You know, I honestly didn't ask. My boss's boss from 70 years back updated the testing parameters to include it, and we just do it.
Because it's always been done that way, yes?
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Indeed.
how things are done.
Yeah, Rassie's nodding on like. Yeah.
How's that, James? How'd you like my improv role play? You like that one? I actually stole that one from Assassination Classroom. There's a guy who eats everything off of his gun.
I was going to take it further.
Bizarre show. Oh, you were going to take it further? I'm good, though. I'm good. I'm good like someone who recently ate soup from the barrel of a gun.
All right, so...
NHOP leak testing complete. Big green check mark next to it. Now, the guns are still being manufactured, but according to the estimates you are receiving from Kin Hardbottle, they will be finished on time and on spec.
So these weapons meet our needs, and it seems like Kin Hardbottle will be done. I wonder if maybe a site visit is out of the question?
It's one of those things where I feel like you shouldn't scratch the itch.
Just let it be.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, their delivery schedule is well within our tolerances. Like, I would rather just let it happen. Just no tears, just sleep.
Very well then. Oh my God, this cat. I'll be right back, guys.
This is certainly good news.
Yeah. Do you want to carry the prototype for a while, Rassie, and see, like if we get into any sort of further kinetic conflict, you can try it out in person?
I trust the test results, but I certainly enjoy taking the weapon for a spin.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to shoot. Lovely.
Well, I was just suggesting that, maybe because we've got this prototype here, that they're not going to need any more. That it has, by their own admission, been filled with soup, banged against the wall, and been used to play golf. So,
flipping through the pages, Velamris is like, and a few other questionable things, but I am not going to argue the results.
But it's up to you if you wanted to have it on your person for a while, just in case we did, come into some sort of conflict.
I'll bring it with me.
We can have that one marked as the Imperial Governor edition of the product line.
Oh boy! So here's what I want. I want Rassie holding this gun like a warlord, like with one hand over his head, wearing a Kangol hat. That's the holiday edition Rassie. That's a special. So if Rassie was an SR, this is SSR Rassie when you capture him. It's like Labor Day edition Rassie.
Yeah. I mean, if you are seen using this rifle in combat, but we could actually make sure the rest of the rifle will get stamped like a brass plate saying like Planetary Governor Edition.
Yeah. Planetary Governor approved.
Limited run.
I will bring it with me. In the couple of days, because a couple of days passed before the test was finished. Is Liturgical's condition improved at all?
It hasn't gotten worse, but it has also not gotten better.
Bummer.
Holly, we cut to a meeting with you and Evandriel.
I think I just want to establish that Rassie has been sleeping. Like he's pulled something up to sleep.
They actually
next to
fully
Liturgical.
just, if you sleep there constantly, they fully just lay out a second gurney next to his so that you can sleep in the same room comfortably rather than lying on his bed. And they bring 2 lunches, knowing that you're going to eat both of them.
Definitely does.
I was also going to see, just in the meantime, whether or not I was going to try and engage once again via vacuum tube Frengus in like just conversation. Like I'm trying to send some question, but trying to do it in a conversational way to see whether he would appreciate like occasional written correspondence as a just purely conversational.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So because I get the feeling he might be a bit lonely there. So so
his comments definitely include things like, it's so difficult to have discussions with people who are on my intellectual level.
Yeah. So certainly part of my lick spittle will definitely be kowtowing to his ego via correspondence. Try and bring him more and more on side. So
I assume that you've watched the vampire series with Jackie Daytona. What We Do in the Shadows?
I haven't actually watched it, no.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a part where they describe how to sound more sinister, and that is to be as exact as possible. He's like, that's right, I'm handing you 100 human dollars. This is currency that you could spend. And the person he hands it to is like, do you do something to this? And he's like, you mean this crisp 100 human dollar bill of currency? I have done nothing to it. Treblian talks like that. He has an archaic speech, a strange grammar, and the way that he describes things sometimes is just very strange.
I definitely remember watching a thing about how to use intonation, and it said that there's a big difference between saying I'm a heterosexual and saying I'm a heterosexual.
Who would be saying the first one? It's so hostile with an aggressive way. The second one is like, are they heterosexual? But the first one makes me go, are they heterosexual? Wow, I just got demonetized for that one for sure. For sure.
All right.
You are seated across from Evandriel, who's looking through some papers, and it's just like, yes.
So what's her title? She's preacher or?
Yes, she is a preacher. Yep.
Yeah, because Lila was a missionary, so she's a preacher.
And D'Angelo is the crusader.
Your Grace, thank you for taking the time to meet. First off, I needed to once again apologize for my outburst the other day. Obviously, I let my emotions get the better of me, and I understand you're right in the risks that are imposed. I do need a bit of help from you, though, if possible. As you know, I have an interest in the Wrathful Righteous, and observationally, over the past several months, they've been both growing in size and in their fervor, and I understand that there is the need to not suddenly drain this station of its human resources in order to fulfill a crusade. But I also see the fact that if their size is growing day by day, if and when the decision finally does come to move on this, that they will represent an even larger portion of the population, and or if we can't control their fervor, and there are some unfortunate deaths that will also have a depilatory effect on the population here. So I was looking for your guidance as to how we can sort of encapsulate what we have right now and not let it either grow too large or too dangerous while we wait for the wheels of time to turn.
Are you asking me as Sister Holly, or are you asking me as a representative of the Rogue Trader's House?
So I'm asking this as both a fellow member of the ecclesiarchy and as a citizen right now of this station.
Okay. She slaps you in the face. How dare you question your superior? What plots we have laid in motion to keep the wrathful righteous under control are not of your concern, Sister Holly.
I apologize.
You overstep your reach. Now, if you were to come to me as a representative of a rogue trader's house, that would be an entirely different manner. But a regular citizen of the Imperium questioning a preacher of the ecclesiarchy? Unheard of. If you were not a member of our great order of sororitas, you would be executed for this misstep. As punishment, go save 5 our God Emperors.
Yes, of course, preacher. I stand up and leave.
Okay.
And once I'm out of earshot, I will tell my servo, what my servo's called, my device on my shoulder to stop recording.
Okay. Recording complete.
Yeah.
Oh,
God
boy.
Emperor, who resides on Terra.
Yeah, you know it. We all know it.
Yeah. All right. So at least I've got her on recording saying that she is controlling the growth of the wrathful righteous.
Yeah, you got her.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know what you've got her with, but you do got her.
Well, I mean, now that I need to apply that to the right people now to then start a holy war within the.
For the folks at home, if you're wondering what James is doing, he's doing something called a Xanatos Gambit, and it's really annoying when it's done right. Annoying for me. Just to be clear, it's annoying for me. It's great for him. Oh, gargoyles. I haven't thought about that in over a calendar year. It's the weirdest animated show where half of the Star Trek The Next Generation cast show up in. If you don't know what a Xanatos Gambit is, you can Google TV trope Xanatos Gambit. It's pretty sick. Yep. James is trying to fork me. Hey, with that thought, we're going to come back from the break in about 5 minutes and see what the fallout of this event's going to be. Stick around for the third half.
I am as well.
Audience, I said, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? We're going to do some cheerleading calls real quick. I just appreciate that the cast kind of got into it, too. All right. Ball's in your court. And this is the third half, which the audience is questioning live.
Yeah, I saw that.
No one will question it if you asked at like a Subway for a half roll and then you ordered 3 of them. You would have 3 halves. There's plenty of precedent to have 3 halves.
I believe there are a few different sports games that have a third half if the first 2 result in a tie. I'm thinking hockey, but I could be wrong.
What doesn't hockey have 3 quarters?
3 periods.
Yeah.
But AP, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kane.
If you have something you want to throw down, go ahead.
I was just gonna suggest I will definitely do the perusing of microfiche at the administrative archives to see what I can figure out with AdMech. It feels like talking to anybody that was alive at the time can be kind of a shot in the dark.
Okay. Logic investigation check.
I probably should get investigation for as much of this as I do. I have no fate points, so
out of this group, you're the guy who's supposed to do all of that.
yeah. Look at that. Okay. I got an impressive success.
+4. You do find a series of news reports about the incident that happened, but you work there backwards, right? Like, you arrived after it happened and then work your way backwards to the news reports. So the starting news reports that you find are all like administratum, AdMech cast out of station, questions about disloyalty of local populace. There are news reports about, the station speaks with one voice, like no AdMech, not now, not ever. Back a little bit further is just like more AdMech pseudoscience, more casualties, think of the children, ! Question mark. And you get back to a point where you find out that an Administratum Mechanicus team was sent to break up a protest that was being done. And the protest is like a dude who has a huge, tall, like super tall hat over his head. And then there's like a woman who's got like arm bracers, like a metal armband ring and like 2 huge guns helping patrol the area. And then there's like a quiet dude with an extra large skull, completely shaved, with like capillary blood vessels running through it, who's always answering questions really keenly. The 3 of them working together have been doing protests and like riling up the populace against the overreach of the AdMech. But at this particular event, like the AdMech Skitarii attack the seated Brainiac man and begin beating him. And the dude in the tall hat like gets everyone in the crowd to rise up and begin evicting the Skitarii, and one of them fires by accident and kills a child in the audience, and that turns people from like, hey, you should get out of here, to like, hey, you should get out of here, in like murderous intent. And they butcher the AdMech forces, and the AdMech are officially cast out of the station and placed into exile as a result of this event. There are a number of events before this that led up to it, all of them protests incited by this man with the large top hat and his other 2 companions.
And the man, these 3 individuals, these are not AdMech. They're station people. Or arguably.
I would like you to make another roll.
Sure. Same one, lore. I'm sorry, logic, or which one?
I think it is actually lore, and then do you have lore forbidden inquisition?
I do not. You did allow me to unlock something along those lines, but I haven't actually spent the points on it yet.
Then you'll be doing this lore roll at disadvantage.
Fuck, of course.
You could always spend a fate point.
If I had fate points, perhaps, but no, I will take this impressive failure.
These 3 individuals appear to be local stationers, as far as your record search is concerned. There's a savant named Tyzon. He apparently is very famous for telling people things that either they already knew or like restating a thing to make it sound more impressive.
Velamris definitely connects with him in some way.
Yeah.
Not even sure about why or how. He just realizes
a lot of people, like, you read through his personnel file where he worked at a factory, and a lot of people were like, initially I thought he was really smart, but the more he talks, the less smart he seems to be. The leader's name is Krell, Krell, And
is that the top hat
the
dude?
top hat wearing man. He is a organizer. He was like a foreman at the same factory that the other two worked at. It produced parts for like reinforcing the hull of these asteroids. You know, right? Like the exterior of the asteroid is made up of the asteroids, like rock dust or whatever. But a shield against exterior forces has to be constructed inside of it. And this factory was in charge of making those parts.
They made the structural integrity fields.
There is surprisingly in Star Trek, structural integrity field appears to be a magical teleporting force field. You know,
that's pretty much what it is.
Instead of using magic, they used machinery to construct this.
They use real metal.
Yeah. There's almost no information about the hard case woman with the giant guns. She's listed as being on the public relations staff of the factory.
And I don't have a name for her, correct?
You do not have a name for her.
We'll call her two gun lady. And she said, and it said she was the public relations
Staff for the factory.
Public relations at the factory.
You know, you find a news article that's like her like firing a gun wildly over the heads of some member of the crowd towards like a huge hulking gun servitor, and it's like pictured here, public relations staff at local manufactorum.
Yeah.
Answering the call. They kind of build her up as like a Rosie the Riveter.
With guns.
Yeah. You think Rosie the Riveter didn't have guns? She was building fucking bombers, dude.
Okay. How many of these incidents appeared to have been staged to push an agenda one way or the other?
Well, based on that role you had, none of them. You believe this to be a totally legitimate event on a -3.
Yeah. Well, that was for the...
Oh, okay. For the first one on a +4?
Yeah.
This event seems very strange. Especially the top hat. It just stands out to you. It's so artistic. It feels like a setup, doesn't it?
Yeah, like it.
Yeah. You can't find any evidence of it, but in your gut.
Yeah, there's definitely a PR
spin
spin on this. There's definitely a PR spin. Somebody was orchestrating
it, and the perfect pic
this.
captures of exactly what happened from angles that could see it clearly. Yeah. You get this strange feeling when you're looking into this that there's more going on.
And just to clarify, it feels like this is an organized effort to evict the AdMech.
Yeah, don't make the mistake I did where I called them the administrative.
So the narrative that they're trying to push is that the AdMech was bad, not necessarily that it was true they were bad, but they were trying to push that it was bad to get rid of them. Over exaggeration, perhaps. Or maybe some truth. I don't know. I'm trying to read your facial expressions too.
That would be a problem for me. So let me say instead, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wild? I thought so. It is a story I would tell you. It's a Sith legend.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Yeah, you watch Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah, not from a Space Marine.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's in Episode 3. My bad. Oh, yeah, not from a Space Marine.
Okay. Well, Velamris is going to make notes and whatnot, and feels like he's started digging the hole, but not gotten anywhere to making the hole what it needs to be.
Okay, that's a weird thing to say, but...
Well, it feels like there's a lot of I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of strangeness here. There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Calm down,
hey,
Jimmy.
Listen, Hold on. That's one of my favorite scenes from the reimagined Battlestar Galactica.
No, I agree.
They're in the fracking walls.
Are any of these three individuals, are any of them still alive or around? I guess that would fall under my -3 there.
I mean,
so I guess...
this was 100 years ago, and they appear to be baseline humans. They are probably dead.
What about this factory that they all worked at?
You want to go there? It still exists.
Yes, but I'm not going to go alone. I want to bring the other two with me so I can get some insights that they can get their insight as to what I may see there. That made no sense the way I phrased it, but I want to bring the other two in.
You started off strong, and then I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I definitely trailed off there. Well, Sister Holly can see something, and Rassie, the planetary governor, can see something, and then maybe between the three of us, we could start figuring this shit out. That for a mystery that may or may not be terribly important, or even related to our jobs.
Let's do it.
Side quest mode engaged.
I do like the reference in the Fallout TV show again, getting constantly railroaded, constantly distracted by side quests.
Ah, yes. I see. Yeah, I'm something of a ghoul myself.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring Holly and Rassie up to speed as to what I found. I imagine I've got at least a couple of images of these three, even though they're probably dead by now. And a general story of how this came about, but there's a lot of weird, not full connections between one story point to another. And there's some holes that need to be filled. And I want to go check out the factory that these three all worked at to see if I can find out more. And I would like it if you two would come with me, because you guys can see things that perhaps I'll miss.
Certainly. Make sure.
And with our three observations combined, perhaps we can get to the bottom of this. I'm very curious about the AdMech and whether or not their exile was a legitimate action, or if it was unjustly imposed, or even if they're even dark mechanicum. And certainly if they're dark, then we should be doing things about it. That is the Emperor's remit, is it not?
Indeed.
As much as it may or may not actually have much to do with the rogue trader, but if anything, the servo skull following us around can open more eyes to this problem.
The servo skull hovers to look directly at you.
If we discover something untowards and we do something about it, we are acting as representatives of the Lord Captain, which advances his standing.
Indeed. Sister, a blessing, perhaps?
Of course. Domine Liber Nos, Imperator.
God keep us free? Something? I'm not sure.
Emperor protect us.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. Or save us from danger, basically. Or save us.
Yeah. My space Latin is not so good.
You travel out there. As soon as you arrive, Sister Holly, you are aware that this facility is definitely a inquisitorial factory for sure. The logo outside has the inquisitorial eye inside the eye of a dude that's like thumbs upping, like, hey, welcome to the factory. And then like his eye is an inquisitorial eye. Everyone walking outside like turns to look at you at the same time. They're walking in groups of 3, and one of them has like a piece of cyberware that's just zooming in on you as they go past, and people are like, hey, how's it going? The 3 people stop and turn towards you like Skyrim or Bethesda NPCs, like they all turn at the same time.
Are you sure we should be here, Velamris?
Well, now I'm very curious. I didn't realize this was an Inquisition.
Hey, are
Well,
you ignoring
you don't
talking
know-
to me? I was asking why you're here. Are
Well-
you curious about the products we make here inside this factory?
All I'm picturing now is this being a Skyrim conversation. What are my dialogue options here, AP?
Lie. Tell the truth. Exit.
We were curious about an event that happened here some years ago with members of the Mechanicus.
I'll go get my manager. Why don't you step inside our facility and into the friendly customer support room?
Oh, look at the skull. Does it shake its head again?
The skull is not present. Like, it was with you when you got in the vehicle, and it's not here now.
Okay.
That's so weird. Where is the skull? He's always following one of us. We're all here together.
I'm sure it's exactly where it's meant to be.
Should I be concerned?
The doors to the factory
You and I
begin
didn't
opening
notice
as you
the
say
eye.
that. Mist rolls out, and there's a strong light behind it, so you can't see inside.
Of course. Well,
The three people turn all at the same time and begin walking extremely slowly, all together, away to continue patrolling around the factory.
Oh, I thought they were going to escort us in, but we had to walk with them or they wouldn't follow us.
No.
You have to keep in mind, you and I have no idea. So, I mean, as far as Rassie's concerned, we got an invitation to sit down and somebody of significance is going to speak to us. I just walk in and look for the customer service desk.
That's the friendly customer service desk. They take you on a little thing, like there's arrows on the floor, colored arrows, and they send you over to the friendly customer support desk. And an administratum adept is seated behind there. He's wearing a top hat that has an inquisitorial eye on it. And he looks like what one would imagine from an inquisitorial warband, for sure. You know, like he's wearing completely flamboyant dress, covered in equipment. He's got like an eviscerator on his back, and then like 2 different las rifles. And he's just seated there looking like a clerk, shuffling some paperwork, and says, "Oh, I see. Welcome, gentlemen and lady. I understand you'd like to know more about everything that happens at this facility. You're curious about an event that happened in the past. Is that correct?"
We are
Yes.
curious about an event that happened in the past.
How far back would you like us to look in our records to answer your questions?
It would have been events leading up to the the Adeptus Mechanicum being removed from the station.
I understand. If you'll give me a few minutes to look over that information, I'll come back to you with an answer.
Thank you
I'm
very
getting
much.
I'm getting a phone tree here.
Rassie's not concerned by any of this at all. Just like, oh, thank you. As far as he's concerned, if he's not supposed to know something, they won't tell him.
Yeah.
So they close a privacy screen between you and them, and but they do put on like music. Boo, ba, ba, ba. Worship
never would
the
have thought.
God Emperor. Boo, ba, 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 na, na, ma, no, ma, no, ma, boo, ba, 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 ba. Obey. Ba, ba,
We've been
ba,
given hold
ba.
music in person. This is amazing.
Yeah, this place is great.
The window opens back up
Rassie's-
again.
Rassie's super down with this.
Officially, this factory had nothing to do with the Adeptus Mechanicus being forced away from this station. That event was not associated with us or any of our employees, and you should stop looking into it.
Have I recognized the eye on his hat?
I have.
I'm just wondering if I could make a roll to be like, oh, hey, that's an Inquisition symbol.
Yeah, I'm like,
Especially-
I feel like
like
you guys have spent enough time around the Inquisition that like you're now actively recognizing that you're in an inquisitorial stronghold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just sort of like give a nod and say, "Oh, thank you very much for your time."
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think Velamris is like, yep,
He's shuffling
I
the
recognize
paperwork
a
and
wall.
just offhandedly he just says, and what changed your mind? What do you think you know right now that you didn't before you came into this facility?
I'm going to
Starting to look at Velamris.
Yeah, Velamris is. I'm gonna look this guy dead in the eye, and
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna be dead honest. You just told me to stop a line of investigation. Given where I'm standing right now, that is the best possible outcome.
What do you
that I
think
can
this
get right
facility
now.
is? It's just a humble factory.
If
Right.
I were to ever inquisit about something, this might be a good place to
Eagle 2,
start.
go. Eagle 2, go. You hear the sound of gas canisters arriving in the room from either side of
Lovely.
you. As
Sorry,
the walls
guys.
open up and a team
Velamris.
of inquisitorial adepts begins entering the room with shock sticks.
Yeah.
I'll put on my breath mask and point to my own eye, Malcador, on my Chapel of Ecclesiasticus.
My helmet has a breathing apparatus, but seeing that they've come in and the very obvious like misstep by Velamris, I just I let go the lasgun on the sling and just put my hands up.
You start counting
Yeah, I'm not-
backwards
yeah,
from
there's-
100, 99, 98, 97.
Yeah, there's zero resistance. If anything, Velamris is like, fuck.
So they don't do anything to Rassie, but when Velamris goes down and is unconscious, somebody casually walks up and just stun six him. They're just to make sure.
Lovely.
That
I'm gonna need to
seems
change of clothes.
unnecessary.
I'm gonna need to change of clothes now. Thanks, guys.
Sister Holly, I need you to come with me.
I'll get up and follow them.
Okay. One of them, fireman, carries Velamris, and like two people stretcher carry Rassie as you are all led into an
Rassie's
office.
helmet's also got the respirator thing to not get gas.
Oh, okay. Well, then they just let you walk along as well.
Yeah, Rassie's
I do like the idea that you quickly put your helmet on, you know, like for the conversation. Like you see the gas coming and you're just like, oh.
Well, I like to think because Rassie knows that he's terrible at talking and he doesn't want to deal with this planetary governor title thing. So he's perfectly content to just be like, anonymous. Please don't ask me any governor questions.
Don't make me sign any paperwork.
Anybody who knows who I am will know who I am anyways.
A Medicaid comes in and injects something into Velamris's arm, and about 10 seconds later, he jerks awake. That Medicaid sits across the table from you and then puts an earpiece in. You are in a 10 by 10 metal box, seated at a steel table. There are 3 chairs on your side, 1 chair on his side. He is staring at all of you, and it's clear that at least one of his eyes is cybernetic as he looks over you, and he says, well, I hope you're happy. I will be feeding you questions from an individual at a remote location who would like to ascertain what your purpose was blowing the cover on this operation.
Did we really blow the cover when you had the inquisitorial eye on the front of the building?
The Inquisition has operated uncontested at this facility for longer than you have been alive. Do not get smart with me.
Very well.
As far as I knew before arriving here, some imagery that was related to the Admex exile included images of this facility exterior. We came to learn more about the legitimacy of the Admex exile with no intentions of encountering anything Inquisition related. When I was told that our line of questioning was over, I was perfectly content to leave and have found nothing here. And I just look over at Velamris. And as far as I'm concerned, I have found nothing here other than whatever you say we found.
We're obviously known to the Inquisition here, and we recently came into conflict with agents of some part of the Mechanicum, which I'm sure Inquisitorial agents were aware of because they were there when it happened. We were simply trying to find out what we could about the involvement of the Mechanicum on this station as it would affect our duties later on. It led us here. As soon as it was clear that the Inquisition was in control of this building, we never provided any false information, nor did we attempt to deceive. We simply answered questions as they were given to us.
Admittedly,
Are you looking? Oh no, I'd love to let you speak, Omar. Please go ahead.
admittedly, I may have been a little flippant in my final response, but you did tell us to stop asking, and we left it at that.
You come here asking questions as private citizens of the Imperium, or are you asking on behalf of your rogue trader house through which you hide behind?
We're asking on behalf of the road. Well, we are in our duties for the Darkwind trading house. We're investigating whether there were further complications with the Mechanicum that would compromise our duties. And our investigations led us here through information that we could access publicly.
Our sole interest in arriving here was to determine whether or not was to make our own determination with no knowledge that the Inquisition had any interactions with the ADMEC here, whether or not it would be proper to attempt to contact and do business with them.
The knowledge you seek comes with a price. Are you prepared to pay in the form of a favor?
I didn't know that we actually need the knowledge. It was a line of inquiry that, as directed, we're happy to drop. So if you would rather we don't investigate any further, then I took that as the direction. We were simply asked a question then what we thought this facility was, and we answered that question, albeit surreptitiously.
I want to be really clear that this interrogator is staring directly at Velamris. Like, he's established the other two are prepared to get up and walk away, and this person has locked horns with Velamris, daring him to invoke the favor.
Let me see. You know how in Pendragon you have your traits and they're opposite of each other?
Yeah.
And you roll one to see how you might respond.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find something like that because on one hand, Velamris is curious and he does feel that determining that the ADMEC is good or bad is kind of important, generically speaking, but as well as for all business purposes for the trading house. Conversely, he knows he's up against a wall here and he could be putting his coworkers / friends in danger unnecessarily by continuing.
I feel like discipline, if you're looking for something to roll, I feel like discipline is the skill that, you know, would cover self-control.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And you do get advantage when you're in my presence because of my inspiring presence.
Does he get any other bonus for Rassie obviously staring at him with a "don't you fucking talk" expression? I mean, Rassie will just straight up say, while you pause and you're considering your self-control, Rassie will just turn to you and say, there are answers that we are meant to have and answers that we aren't meant to have. We can find what we're looking for about the ADMEC in ways that don't endanger things more important.
Curiosity is a thing that worms into your mind.
Yeah.
Just because you let the question lie does not mean that you will sleep well not knowing the answer.
I'm going to tell you this. Out of character, I'm going to make this roll, and I'm going to throw in the corruption as my reason for it. That corruption that he gained some from curiosity is now starting to feed more curiosity.
We need Omar to play Cthulhu. He would die so fast in that game.
Oh, probably.
But he would be such a good Cthulhuist.
But Velamris does realize that perhaps not everything needs to be learned, and he will look at the inquisitorial individual and say, "We were told to stop. I have stopped."
You're free to go. Please enjoy these complimentary duck-shaped cookies from your local friendly customer support representative group.
May I
pulls
ask why
out a
they're shaped like
box.
ducks?
He takes the thing off and he hands you 3 peeps.
Yeah, that's what a duck looks like.
Yeah, that's a fair point. What even is a duck?
They're sort of bird-like, aren't they?
I thought they were more like a feline sort of thing.
Rassie's too dumb to be curious about this. He gladly takes his peep and says, "Thank you very much for your time," and he makes the leave. You don't want to fuck with this.
For the viewers at home that probably didn't see that roll, I rolled a 42, but with advantage, bounced it to a 24 against a 31. So I did succeed because Sister Holly gives me that advantage thing. Whatever that talent is.
Yeah, we understand. We know how James's bullshit works now. James stands behind you, directly over your head, and is like, "Do it, do it."
What's annoying is that I don't get the benefit myself. So
James is literally Darth Plagueising you. He's like, he's wearing an August purple robe, sitting there with his legs crossed, looking incredibly masculine, just going, "Tell me, Anakin, if you knew you could save your wife, would you resort to dark powers? Because I know a guy."
Anakin. So I have a serious question for you, AP. I have now worked out what my end game is in this whole thing with the ecclesiarchy.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you what I'm planning for?
Oh no, James.
No.
Normally, I do. You know, there's often I don't like being surprised by players. I like to know what they're planning so that I can improve upon it with my story sense. I am not feeling that right now. I'm completely off my game. I'm just like, man, what are these storylines I'm coming up with? Especially Stars Without Numbers Revised. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit I'm cooking up? I'm at the point now where the Stars Without Numbers Revised, I'm like, you know, there's literally nothing I hate more than a actual play series that doesn't have a good finale. But I literally cannot predict this group. They will shoot themselves in the foot in an instant and then stop and talk about how their foot hurts. You know what I mean? Like,
while reloading to do it again.
I absolutely have no ability to predict them. And I'm kind of enjoying the chaos as it happens. So, you know what, James? You just do what you're going to do. And if I see it coming, I'll do my best. And if I don't see it coming, the steel trap will close around me. And then, just like the Lisanel game, I guess I'll stay in the trap so that I can use the time box to see the future. Wow, so, yeah. Seeing the future really sucks. That's literally the whole first chapter 1 of Dune is, oh no, I fell in a trap. I put my hand in the time box. Oh no, I can see the future. It's very sad. This has made me sad.
So I guess with that note, we are leaving with our customary.
Peeps.
It sounds like Rassie already ate his peep. Yeah,
of course he did.
Yeah. He ate it slowly and reverently. His new taste that he hasn't had before. He's never had a peep.
That crystal sugar matrix.
Yeah.
This ain't your daddy's corpse starch.
Yeah.
In a very literal sense, perhaps. I think as we're leaving. And once we're clear of presumably inquisitorial oversight other than our own server skull, my next question to the group is like, well, I mean, like we're going back to the car, I imagine.
You get back in the car and the servo skull is not present.
I don't even know if he would notice at this point because he feels like he just totally dodged a massive fat bullet. So do we continue to look
Rassie might notice, but Rassie also believes 100% that servo skull is exactly where it belongs, doing exactly what it needs to be doing. He pays no mind to it.
Can I just say, by the way, I have no idea what a peep is. I've never heard that term before. So I did Google what is a peep food. James. And the first thing that came up was a YouTube video that's called "What You Should Know Before Eating Peeps." And I'm worried now.
Fair.
It is a marshmallow thing encrusted, or excuse me, covered in
when I was
powder
working in DC, on the harbor, there is a peep store. That's all it is a large building that just sells variety peeps on the docks.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
You can go to the beach and then eat peeps and go back into the water. It's
Yeah.
So I think Velamris is
so
Velamris's big question now is what do we decide to do? What do we decide to do regarding the Adeptus Mechanicus and any future dealings we might have with them? Do we just effectively rule them out or disinclude them or disclude?
Yeah, I think so. Like my plan next time the Mechanicus turns up is to yell at the top of my voice, "Look, the Mechanicum are here." Maybe even use my loudhead if it's working.
That's great.
I mean, any efforts to try to bring them back to the station or anything like that, or even interacting with them and the people of the station finding out would cause us more difficulties.
What I like is the arrogance in assuming that your group of individuals need to be the one that bring them back. Like they have no agency in performing their own actions. You're
I wasn't even trying to do that.
We will determine their fate.
No, I wasn't even trying to bring him back or anything. I wanted to know more and figure out whether or not they were dark. So that
if somebody else brings them back, they do, but it's a declaration of whether or not we want to be the ones that bring them back.
Well, whether we want to gain leverage by being involved in it. Like they might be able to do it themselves, but if we help them, then we can use
favor with them. Yeah.
Or
kind of like
we
that favor that was just dangled in front of you. Yeah, I understand how it works. Yeah.
Or do we and then Velamris is like, do we even bother trying to interact with them in any way, shape, or form? Like, do we just close all communications to them? And I feel like the answer to that is more or less yes. Yes, based on the Inquisition and we haven't really done much with them anyway. So this now becomes boxed and put away in some corner somewhere.
Yeah. I think put this.
We can take it off the board.
We've got plenty of stuff to do that doesn't involve. It was on the board. Fixing the camp. That was more about making sure we don't get kidnapped and threatened again.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. Do you want to fix things in the Mechanicum on the whiteboard?
No, I say take it off. Well, I think we can close that line as task complete, more or less.
Well, helping the Mechanicum and fixing things with the Mechanicum are two different objectives.
Yeah, when I said fixing, I meant get them off our back. Same thing with the Imperial Guard when I put that one down.
Okay.
I think we have little to worry in that particular regard now, based on our big brothers telling us to stop asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't tell us to stop asking questions about the Mechanicum. They told us to stop asking questions about that particular facility. But I get the point. We just need. I think that they could still rear their ugly heads and cause us problems in the future, and we haven't solved that problem. I don't know if we have the solution for that problem right now, but I think that to cross it off,
if with this newfound visibility we have on the space vault, if a piece of technology is recovered that is particularly important, we might be able to offer it up as a peace offering, depending on what it is.
We could use that as a vehicle by which to determine darkness or lack therein.
I mean,
and still have concerns about their legitimacy.
Unless something very overt happens that makes it very obvious that they are collectively heretical, I'm not sure I'd have any way to know.
Perhaps this is one of those.
There's a lot about them that don't make sense to me, and I never needed to know as a guardsman.
AP, growing up on a Forge world, I feel like I wouldn't have been exposed to too much that would have been dark Mechanicum.
I mean, like the
outright.
Inquisition, the existence of the Dark Mechanicum is a secret. Right? Like I love how you guys are like, oh, wait, yeah, would we have recognized this inquisitorial eye? Like, no, absolutely. Holly, yes. Rassie, probably. Velamris, no shot. 0%. Not a chance. The Inquisition denies that it exists to most of the common public. You know what I mean?
I've avoided referring to the Dark Mechanicums. I don't think its existence is public knowledge. So I've said there might be factions in the Mechanicum, but I don't think the fact there's a chaos corrupted faction would be.
If I could
it's
say,
definitely been implied that
is
a Dark Mechanicum that was hunting you for sure.
Yeah.
I've been trying not to say it. I probably have once or twice, just because it's easier. But I've been meaning to say that, heretical people. But
Hey, just wait until I bring the Dark Inquisition storyline back once again.
I think Velamris is definitely concerned. I think in his experience, he's not necessarily been exposed to or seen the Dark Mechanicum. Maybe heard rumor that he was, boogeyman tales.
Oh, they
or
definitely
whatever.
talk about like heretics and stuff like that.
Right.
That's
Right.
definitely common knowledge that like people who misuse technology are heretics, and like strange things can happen when you don't follow the rules exactly as they were written down 40,000 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where Velamris is at, is like in his mind, whether this is the correct label or not, it's Dark Mechanicum, something dark, something not right. And I think that's what's got his curiosity piqued a little bit, as to this particular group that we met a few episodes ago, and the fact that they didn't just want to outright kill a Xeno, they wanted to capture it alive. And on top of that, the servitors that attacked Holly and Velamris at the airport, at the starport. Like, these things are just not adding up, and that's why Velamris is like, are these dark fuckers, or are they like, what's really going on? But now the Inquisition's like, stop, let it be, go away.
Like was said earlier, the Inquisition doesn't care about us asking about the AdMech. They just care about us asking about anything to do with this facility.
Mm.
Interesting that it's a factory.
They don't care what we do as long as we don't harsh their mellow.
Interesting that it's a factory and it's been there for a long time, as they say. But we don't need to have that question answered.
I got nothing else.
All right.
Well, I guess I have one question, but it's strictly for the game master. Is what effect does this have as far as my short-term goal?
What is your short-term goal?
Let me see. Specifically, learn about the local AdMech, and what else did I write in here?
It's time to keep pushing, brother.
And
You haven't opened
determine
enough
if-
doors.
Yeah, and determine if they're dark or not. And I've even put dark in quotes.
You had a prime opportunity and you walked away from it.
Yeah, I didn't want to, and didn't want to unnecessarily.
You didn't want to pay
endanger
the
my
price.
friends.
Yes, I understand.
No, the price was
Now you need to come at this from a new angle. You need fresh eyes. The trail's gone cold.
I have a servo skull I can talk
Damn it! You're gonna have to find your answers on the street. Throw your badge and your gun into the chief's face as you storm out of the building.
I would wait until we get back to the trading house before asking. Sort of gesture at our board. Sister, I know you've been working a lot with putting together trying to put together some competitors for the porcine transportation. But I was wondering if there's anything that we could do, or anything that needs to be done about this particular thing. And I'll point at the Arbites investigation.
Well, that's part of what I'm working on right now. So, because they're not happy with the Wrathful Righteous being here, and they have concerns about heresy. So I'm looking to get the Wrathful Righteous moved off the station. I had the suggestion that you talk to the naval captain or the naval admiral about using your resources to help her solve both her and our ammunition problem. But if you want to go ahead and have them transport the porcine. I'm okay with that. Like, I still have an interest in pursuing what I'm currently pursuing, but I don't want to put completion at risk just for my own goals. So I suggest that you meet. I suggest you meet with her and look at what while you still got this power to work out how to use that.
So there's no concerns about the Arbites causing you any personal problems, or
No. I can manage that. I do need to go and see Father Firebrand again, though, only briefly.
Can I fade out on this particular moment then?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone gets 50 XP. You also get $500 solars and compliments of Drably and Frengus. You get a Power Fist. It comes wrapped in a like gift wrap with a little bow on it, but because they gift wrapped it like the glove of Thanos, it's very obvious that it's a massive Power Fist. The packaging does nothing. Like, the individual fingers are all gift wrapped, so it's very obviously a glove.
What's the title of this guy?
Drably and Frengus use the Chamberlain.
Chamberlain, thank you. Couldn't think of that word.
How many solars did you say?
500.
Okay.
So, who would like to use a Power Fist? You need at least a strength rating of 4 because it's got heavy 4.
Strength bonus, you mean?
Yeah, strength bonus of 4.
I don't think I have that much strength.
I'm close to that. I could certainly up my corpse starch intake and extend my morning routine a bit, but I'm not quite there yet.
I won't make it because you only get 4 advances and it's 1 point each advance for characteristics, and I have a 33.
Oh yeah, you get more. So the advances you get, I think the total of 20 advances you can do, but they cost more the further you go. Or you can certainly go further. Like, it's 4 in a skill, but I think you'll find with attributes you can do more than I think attributes.
I thought it was 4. I thought it was only 4, and they were 1 point apiece. Am I crazy?
Each time you put up, it goes up by 1. But there's XP. So characteristic you can increase an unlimited number of times to a maximum of 60, but it go like each increase costs more.
Oh,
yeah.
And it's based on that one chart that says if it's this many points, it's this many experience points.
So for Rassie to get from 37 to 40 would cost him 120 XP.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, it was 1 Power Fist for the group, or it was one
Power
each?
Fist.
Yeah, Power Fist group, yeah. And look, and we can put it in storage now because, like, the thing about Power Fist is that when you're walking around wearing a Power Fist, it sort of says quite a bit about your intentions.
Okay, Morgan Blackhand, calm down.
Yeah, like crushing bulkheads is more important to me than being able to like hold a sandwich to eat.
But it's also, I mean, it's different regiments have different doctrines.
Yeah, of course. And it would be like really easy to give away that you're secretly an Inquisition team if you have one guy with a giant top hat and a factory worker and PR who's carrying 2 submachine guns. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're totally normal, average people with my giant fist.
Yeah. But Rassie's, as the Elysians were focused a lot on marksmanship. So we have our basic combatives training, but we're certainly not specialists in it.
Yeah.
It's Rassie's way of saying I only have 29 weapon skill.
I see. I want to remind you that NPCs have mistaken your team as an inquisitorial team because of the outlandish dress and weird combination of skills that you have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly something we would never confirm, but...
Next time we meet, which is next week?
Yes. Well, I'm good. But didn't James say something earlier today that next week was, or no, wait.
No. Next week is fine.
It's over the next month.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a future. I think it's the 12th I can't do.
Well, we could figure that out next week.
Yeah, indeed.
We will be doing a true downtime session, which will involve the rolls and the charts and all that stuff. Last time where Sister Holly got trapped and all that junk. Any post-episode thoughts here before we truly wrap up?
Oh, look, I'm happy I know what direction I'm going now, and I need you, AP, just to keep the Darth Sidious memes alive. It'll make it funnier if you keep referencing Darth Plagueis while
I'm so deeply worried now. I've never been more concerned
Sister
about
Holly
a
is
decision I've made.
Look, all I'm saying is that Sister Holly loves democracy.
Do you promise to return your powers when the crisis abates?
Hey,
I
listen.
have to put some serious thought into my long-term goal and how to accomplish it, ? Or maybe it's through some actions not really doable in character anymore. I had to put some serious thought to it.
I may have to tweak mine a little bit, but
Palpatine in like the post original series, they've gone so ham on making him a good evil planer that was never really shown in the original series. In Bad Batch, they Xanatos Gambit him, where the episode where people are like, oh, the Chancellor is going to, or the Emperor is going to replace the clone troopers. And the clone troopers are like, we don't want to be replaced. And then the evidence is revealed, and the Emperor is like, oh, you know, this bad Imperial officer ordered the clone troopers to do this, so it's not their fault. But it concerns me that the clone troopers would so readily betray Republic citizens and sink Camino into the ocean. We should replace them with a new stormtrooper corps. And everyone's like, yeah, democracy, the Emperor's right. And I'm just like, damn, that's such a good fork right there. Like, no matter what anyone did, that dude was fucking ready to ice those clone troopers. Holy shit. That's democracy, baby. Okay, friends, we will see you next week, hopefully. And hey, keep dreaming of Peeps, I guess. We are not sponsored by them.
Only Peeps.
We're not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form.